Have you guys heard about the reports that FSB put out? FSB being Russia's intelligence agency. They recently put out a report exposing France for their intentions and plans to basically unalive any head of state that doesn't align with them and their interests, that don't do what they want. The Russian Foreign Intelligence Service has accused France of trying to destabilize governments in countries like Mali, the Central African Republic, and Madagascar, while Russia itself is accused of working to weaken French influence in the region. And after that report came out, we saw a video of ISIS attacking a military base in Niger. Like, why can't these Europeans just leave us alone? All of them, including the Russia, because you guys even know I'm not even a big fan of them. Yes, they are quote unquote coming to help us and whatnot, but no help is for free. And yes, somehow we cannot be an island and we need allies and stuff like that, right? But still, like, we want to be left alone. Why can't we have that? And while I'm digesting this information, I'm learning just yesterday, actually, that the son of Gaddafi has been unalived. His name is Saif al-Islam, Gaddafi's son of former leader killed in Libya. According to this article, he was his father's number 2 from 2000 until 2011 when Muammar Gaddafi was killed by Libyan opposition forces, ending his decades-long rule. This article is not even being accurate. Wasn't Libya killed by the US? I mean, we literally have a video of that woman, Hillary Clinton, saying they went, they saw, and he died.
Tomorrow.
Wow. Huh.
Unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed. Yeah.
Unconfirmed.
No.
What up?
Unconfirmed reports about Gaddafi being captured.
And that is the land of unconfirmed reports.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Did it have anything to do with your visit?
No, I'm sure it did.
So this is why sometimes, like, getting information from the internet, it can be very tricky, because, like, is this not, I mean that they interpret them in the right way? Is there something I'm missing? The article did say, though, that he was captured and imprisoned in Zitan in 2011 after attempting to flee the North African country following the opposition's takeover of Tripoli. He was released in 2017 as part of a general pardon and had lived in Zitan since. So apparently he had intentions of running for presidency. So this article is saying in November 2021, he announced his candidacy in the country's presidential election in a controversial move that was met with outcry from the anti-Gaddafi political forces in western and eastern Libya. His political team released a statement saying that 4 masked men stormed his house and unalived him in a cowardly and treacherous assassination. The statement... My cat just came in. The statement said that he clashed with the assailants who closed the security cameras at the house, in quotes, in a desperate attempt to conceal traces of their heinous crimes. The article also added that before his death, he was accused of torture and extreme violence against opponents of his father's rule, and by February 2011, he was on the United Nations sanctions list and banned from traveling. He was also wanted by the International Criminal Court for alleged crimes against humanity committed in 2011. After the rebels took over the capital Tripoli, he tried to flee to neighboring Niger dressed as a Bedouin tribesman, but he was captured by the Abu Bakr Sadiq Brigade militia on a desert road and flown to Zitan. Following long negotiations with the ICC, Libyan officials were granted authority to try Gaddafi for alleged war crimes. In 2015, a Tripoli court sentenced him to death in absentia. After his release from detention in 2017, he spent years underground in Zitan to avoid assassination. Now, while this man may not have been a saint when he was alive, his death has been received with, if I can say, mixed reactions from netizens. Some netizens are saying that they think that he was unalived because he was a Pan-African. The implication here being that he was unalived by the West, or that the West somehow has their hand in this, because we know how they be operating with the continent, right? They don't like when a leader is for the people on the continent. They don't like when the leader centers Africa, right? Because they want to be the priority. Unfortunately, this is something that we have seen happen on the continent time and time again, where the West West would brand a certain leader that they don't like because this leader don't bend to their will, a dictator or a terrorist, and then they unalive the leader. So people are saying that could it be that maybe it's the same playbook that was used here? Could it be that this guy was killed not because he was a quote unquote bad person or that he did any of these things, but because the West are threatened by him? Unfortunately, at the moment, I'm not sure what to think because I'm not exactly versed or knowledgeable about the Saif al-Islam Gaddafi's law. But, there are other sides to the thought process, right? There are some people that think that, no, that was not why he was killed. He wasn't killed because he was a Pan-Africanist. And that this has nothing to do with the West, but everything to do with how the Libyans feel about him or felt about him.
Now, to be honest, Saif al-Islam, that is the son of the former president of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, knew too much. He also symbolized too much. And I think because he was coming too close again to relevance, they had no choice than to take him out. Now, if you stay with me, I will tell you exactly what he did to Libyans when his father was the president and why they had no choice than to kill him. Now, let's start with the Arab Spring, the protest that started in 2011. It cut across Tunisia, it was in Libya, it was in Egypt, it was in Bahrain, I think Algeria too joined, even Saudi Arabia. So many countries joined the Arab Spring. Now, at first, some people hoped that, Saif al-Islam was going to calm things down. That was when Libya stepped in, because he had always presented himself as a reformer. But instead of doing that, this guy went on national TV and delivered a speech that changed everything. Now, in that speech, he warned protesters that Libya was going to descend into chaos, bloodshed, and civil war if the protests continued. In fact, in his word, he said that the rivers were going to be flooded with blood. He openly threatened force and defended the actions of the army and police, even as people were already being deleted. That was what he did. Now, that speech answered several questions in people's minds, even if he said those questions directly or those indirectly or not. For instance, was the regime going to compromise? No. Was violence approved from the top? Yes. Because he said it now. He said it. Who was speaking for the regime? Saif al-Islam. Now, after that, the crackdown became worse, harsher. It became something else. Protesters were arrested, shot, maimed, and a lot of them disappeared. Now, whether Saif personally ordered every action or not stopped nothing. It didn't matter anymore. In public memory, he became the voice that justified the violence. Now, this is why he became the face of the crackdown. Because his father ruled quietly. Saif spoke loudly. And so even here in Nigeria, we see how they behave. The father is the president and the son is the one gallivanting. Then the war escalated. NATO intervened. Rebels forces advanced. The Gaddafi regime collapsed. His father was captured and killed. Saif survived. He was later captured, imprisoned, released, and then slowly re-entered Libyan politics. Now, this is where the next problem came in. Because many Libyans never forgave him. To them, he symbolized the killings, the threat, the refusal of the father to step aside, and the collapse of the country into war. Now, at the same time, of course, not everybody will hate you. Some tribes and political groups still supported him. He even tried to position himself for a political comeback. And that raised new questions for powerful people inside Libya. What do we expect? Could he return to power? We know what his father did. Will he do the same thing? Could he reopen old wounds? Could he expose deals, crimes, or secrets from the war? Do you understand? Now, in a country with weak government, divided militias, and no real rule of law, those questions don't get answered in courtrooms. they get answered with guns. So his killing was not some random thing. It was not about one speech or one moment. It was the result of three things coming together. First, historical anger. Many people blamed him personally for the violence in 2011. Yes. Second, political fear. His possible return threatened existing power balances. And then third, lawlessness. Libya still has armed groups that operate without control or accountability. Because of that environment, he was vulnerable. Once someone decided he was a problem, there was nothing strong enough to protect him. Yes. So, in plain terms, he was killed because he symbolized the past, threatened the present, and complicated the future. And before I leave, before you begin to say, they killed the father, they killed the son, think about it very well. None of them was that innocent. Although we wish we had them, going by what Libya is going through right now. For now, this is what everyone knows. What do you know?
Honestly, I cannot add any sense to this conversation because I am not knowledgeable about what's going on. As a matter of fact, I'm learning from this video myself. Another life lost because of the game of politics. And it's just crazy, guys. It's crazy. I don't know what to say. But basically, I just want to quickly bring you guys this update to let you know of the new turn of events on the continent. What are your thoughts? We're catching you in the next one.